Begin by settling into constructive rest pose. Notice where the feet are. Bring them in line with the sit bones. Knees comfortably bent. Feel the ball of the foot in contact from the ball of the big toe to the little toe. Feel the center of the heel. Let your tailbone settle down into the floor and your back pocket spread wide. At the same time, soften the front thighs and let the crease at the front of the hips deepen and soften. Relax the belly. Let the muscles around the lower spine soften. Continue to release the back of the body into the floor. Move your attention up the spine. Notice the shoulder blades, spread them out. Let your arms relax. Relax the neck and the pit of the throat. Soften the jaw, up to the temple, between the eyebrows. Allow the back of the head, the very back of the skull, to settle down into the support either of the mat or of a little blanket or pillow behind your head. Notice the neutral spine again, the natural space between your lower back and the mat. We'll start with the inner core, preserving, stabilizing that natural lumbar curved spine. Bring your attention to the pelvic floor. Take an inhale. As you exhale, gather the pelvic floor towards its center, and then imagine a big broad belt coming around the low waist and buckling beneath the belly button. Feel the security of the transversus in the pelvic floor around the pelvis. And then relax that. At the release of the muscular engagement, no movement of the bones. Inhale, prepare to do that again. And exhale, gather the pelvic floor, find the belt of support. That's the transversus coming around. Maintain for a moment. And then relax. One more time with the exhale, engage the inner core, stabilize the pelvis and the lower spine, and then inhale, float the arms up towards the ceiling. And re-engage the inner core as you reach the arms back. The lumbar curve should stay constant. Inhale, float the arms up, and then relax your arms down to your sides, releasing the work in the inner core, no movement of the lower back. Do the same thing again. You may notice some movement in the ribs. Inhale, float the arms up. Stabilize the lower back and the pelvis, and notice how the ribs move because the arms are pulling back on this shoulder girdle. Inhale, arms float up, and then exhale, lower the arms down and relax the inner core work. Once again, inhale, float the arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, stabilize with the inner core and reach back. Feel that the ribs are flaring. Keep your arms raised where they are, and as you exhale, imprint the back ribs. And then inhale, arms split up, and exhale, bring the arms back down. And do that again. Inhale, arms split up. Exhale, just use the inner core as you reach back. Notice that the ribs flare up away from the mat. Stay with your arms back. Inhale there, notice the ribs. And exhale, imprint the back ribs down into the mat. You still have your lower back in its natural curve. Inhale, arms split up. And exhale, lower the arms back down to the sides. Do that one more time. Inhale, float the arms up. Exhale, engage the inner core first and reach back. Go ahead and let the ribs do what they do. Inhale and breathe into the ribs. They're flaring. Exhale, unflare and imprint the ribs. And inhale, arms to the ceiling. And keep your arms there. Relax everything. Make some small circles. Let the humeral heads drop more firmly into the sockets. Reverse the circles. And then bring the hands behind the head. Interlace the fingers. Open the elbows out wide. Inhale, feel the ribs flare. Exhale, reach your right ribs down in a diagonal to the left back pocket. Just engaging that line of obliques. And inhale, breathe into the center. Let both sets of ribs flare out. And exhale, reach your left ribs down to your right back pocket. Feel that line of obliques engaging. Inhale again, feel the ribs flare. And with the exhale, right ribs to the left back pocket. Imagine them going all the way around. You want to get those strands of the internal oblique that wrap around. And inhale, flare the ribs. Exhale, unflare the left ribs down towards the right back pocket. And imagine the line of energy going all the way around to the back pocket. And inhale. Now we're going to exhale. Start with the right to the left, and then layer the left to the right over it. And then relax that. And now the other way. Inhale, let the ribs flare. Exhale, start with the left ribs down to the right back pocket, and then layer the right over to the left on top of that. And then relax. Take a relaxed breath. Inhale, prepare and feel your ribs flare. We're going to imprint and then knit the ribs. With your exhale, imprint the back ribs and knit the front ribs. And now lift into a head lift. And inhale, lower back down. Again, this time add your inner core. Inner core, imprint, knit the ribs and take a head lift. Stable lower back curve. Inhale, lower back down. One more time. Inner core, imprint and knit, lift the head, and we're going to go into the alternate leg lift. Stable pelvis as we lift the right foot up and lower it back down. And then the same thing on the left. Keep stabilizing. Your head is up so you can look at the front of the pelvis and notice if you're really staying still as you transition. Right foot up and lower and left foot up and lower. And one more time with each leg. And then lower the head down. Bring the thumbs to the low ribs, the fingers to the hip points. We're going to move into the alternate leg lift with the extension, feeling this stability, the space between the ribs and the hips. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, engage the inner core. Knit your ribs down around to the back pockets and imprint. Then lift the right foot up. And exhale, extend your right leg out, flexing the foot back. Inhale, bend the knee, and exhale, lower down. Notice with your fingers the same way you were noticing with your eyes previously. Keep the pelvis steady as you inhale and lift the left. Exhale, flex, extend. Inhale and bend. And exhale, lower the left foot down and return to the right one. And exhale, flex, extend. Inhale, bend, anchor, and lower back down. Re-engage and take the left foot up and reach out and bend the knee and lower back down. On your exhale, re-engaging, setting up for one more set. Pelvis is completely steady the whole time. Good, then let everything relax for a moment. And then re-engage around the pelvis. Re-engage the ribs down to the back pockets and imprint the back ribs. We're going to keep the neutral spine and slide the right foot out away from you. So the leg is straight. We're still in neutral. Then point your toe. Externally rotate the right leg. Lift the leg and lower back down. Continue to stabilize the pelvis and keep the neutral curve in place. We're lifting and lowering and lifting and lowering. Careful that your ribs don't flare. And lift and lower. Then rotate to parallel. Let your heel come back down to the floor. Keep your neutral spine and pull the leg back into position. Then let everything relax. And reset the inner core, the ribs knitting and imprinting. Keep your neutral spine and extend your left leg out. Re-engage your transversus around your pelvis, externally rotate and lift the leg and lower. Keep your neutral pelvis. Keep the heel in line with the sit bone so you've rolled out in the socket but not taking your leg any wider. Lift and lower. Maintain the stability of the pelvis and the ribs. Lift and lower. And one more time, lift and lower. And rotate to parallel. Re-engage around your neutral and pull the heel back against the floor and relax. That was all done in neutral. Now we're going to add the rectus abdominis. That's the muscle that comes up the center of the six pack. Start with your inner core. Tilt the pelvis by pulling your pubic bone to your belly button. Imagine that zipping up action that we've been working in the last couple of weeks. Knit and imprint the ribs, and then keep your lower back flat. So now the distance between your thumbs and your fingers has decreased. Keep your back flat. Don't let that distance increase as you straighten your right leg out. Keep the back flat, and then continue to keep it flat and pull the heel back in. Keep flattening, and then take your left foot out, slide it away, continue to flatten. You're tilting the pelvis, knitting and imprinting, and keep it flat as you pull back in, and then relax. Now we're going to add the two legs together, not moving at the same time, but ending up with them both out straight with that pull of the pubic bone to belly button. Start with the inner core, tilt the pelvis, flatten the lower back, knit and imprint. Keep your back flat and straighten your right leg out. If you have your hands on your ribs and your pelvis still, no movement. Keep the back flat and now straighten the left leg out as well. So both legs are out. You're tilting the pelvis to a flat back. And continue to flatten. Pull your right heel in. Keep flattening. And then your left heel in. Keep flattening and imprinting. And then relax. Now we'll start with the left leg. Engage the inner core. Tilt the pelvis. Knit and imprint. And keep the back flat as you straighten the left leg out. Your heel's just sliding away from you. It's still on the mat. Keep flattening and imprinting. Slide the right heel out. Tilt the pelvis. Flatten and imprint. Bring the left foot back into position. And flatten and imprint. And bring the right foot back. You're still flat. And then relax. Let everything relax for a moment. Return to constructive rest. Then reset the inner core around the neutral pelvis. Bring the ribs down to the opposite back pockets and imprint. Prepare for a compound leg lift, lifting the right foot up. Imprint the ribs and lift the left foot up. And then we're going to keep both legs up. Float the arms to the ceiling. Drop the humeral heads into the sockets. Drop the shoulders down. And then pull the pubic bone to the belly button to draw the knees close into the chest. Your arms are still up towards the ceiling, relaxing in the shoulder joint. Now you've got your back flat, pulling your pubic bone to the belly button. And we're going to draw a circle in the ceiling with the knees. Keep your back ribs reaching down and your shoulders relaxed. Your arms should stay completely still. Circle around one way. Pause with the knees into the chest. And then circle around the other way. Keep the back ribs down as you make the circle. Watch the ribs on the opposite side from the circle, that they're not coming up away from the mat. Pause each time the knees are into the center. Circle around the other way. Keep those back ribs down. Shoulders relaxed. Pull into the center. And reverse the circle. Good. Make it nice and slow. And go one more time each direction. Sometimes slow is harder because you don't miss any of the details. And finish up the other way. And then put your hands on your knees. Gently pull the thighs in towards the belly and check that the back of the neck is long. Then release your knees away from you. Lift your feet as high as your knees, coming to a neutral tabletop. And find your inner core, knit and imprint the ribs, keeping a neutral spine. Lower the right foot down. And keep imprinting and lower the left foot down. You're in neutral. And then lift the left foot up. Stay in neutral as you bring the right foot up. We're going to keep a neutral spine now and exhale, begin pistons. Tilt the leg down and inhale, come back up. Beware of those back ribs. Keep them down every time you exhale. We're in a neutral spine now, but you still have to keep the back ribs imprinting. So sometimes we can flatten the lower back. That's one set of muscles. And we can imprint the ribs. That's something different. Keep the neutral lower back and the back ribs imprinting as you do your pistons. Then one hand to each knee. Flop the knees out. Make sure that they're relaxed out there. And then keep the legs flopping, circle around. And then reverse. And return to the center. Pull the thighs in, lengthen the back of the neck. And we're going to drop both knees to the left side, going into a gentle spinal twist. Not too much tug on the shoulder. You can use your left hand on your right knee. Let the breath slow down. And then we'll pull the knees back into the chest. And then let them drop over to the right side. Left arm comfortable, not too much tug in the shoulder. Slow the breath down. And then pull the knees back into the chest. Lengthen the lower back, the back of the neck. Rock a little side to side on the sacrum and lower back. And we're going to go into the 100. We want to find the neutral spine for the 100. Bring the arms down. When we bring the hands down to the floor before the 100, we're trying to activate the tricep, the back of the arm, and keep it active the whole time. So prepare the inner core. Prepare the knitting and imprinting of the ribs. Press the backs of the arms down. Activate them. Knit those ribs in even more as you lift your head. Extend the legs. And then pulse for 5 as you exhale. And for 5 as you inhale. Keep your arms active as though you're actually pressing down into something. Inhale for 5. Exhale for 5, and inhale. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Oblique smile, flattening out the front of the belly towards the waist. Inhale, exhale, and inhale. If you have that diastasis, you want to try to keep the idea of zipping up the center too. Exhale for 5, and inhale one more time. And then bring the knees in. You can use your hands to pull the thighs in close. And then slowly turn your head from one side to the other. Return the head to the center. Rest the head in the center with the back of the neck lengthened. And then straighten the left leg out onto the floor. pull the right knee to the breastbone, and for a moment here, we're going to re-engage with the inner core and flatten the lower back. And release that flattening. Root the tailbone down and extend the right leg up to the ceiling. Support your leg as you engage the inner core, knit and imprint the ribs. Let's bring the hands down to feel the ribs in the pelvis again, and then circle the leg 5 times. Notice the back ribs, keep them down. You're feeling with your fingers so you can tell if the pelvis is still. If it's moving at all, move slower and make a smaller circle. And then reverse. Keep engaging the back ribs down towards the mat. Your belt is snug across your pelvis. And then we're going to bend the right knee and bring it to the breastbone. Left hand on the left hip. And pull the left knee out to the right, pull the right knee to the right armpit. Find the steady pelvis, engage your inner core. Think of that zipping up action of pubic bone to belly button and lift your head. Take a look that the front of the pelvis is level. Release the head. Bring the right knee back into the center. And then the left in to join it so both knees are into the chest. And then we'll straighten the right leg out onto the mat and bring the left knee to the breastbone. And then for a moment, we're going to pull pubic bone to belly button and flatten the lower back. And release that. Root the tailbone down in the center, extend the left leg up. Set yourself up, anchoring your inner core, your ribs knitting and imprinting. Thumbs on the ribs, fingers on the pelvis, circle 5 times. Take it slow. Again here, slow and accurate is a little more challenging, but also more useful. Keep the back ribs down. And then reverse the circles. And then we're going to bend the left knee to the chest. Right hand on the right hip and pull the left knee to the left armpit. And then zip yourself up and lift the head. Maintain that. Check out that the right hip is no higher than the left. Then lower the head. And bring the left knee back into the center and the right in to join it. So draw the knees in close. Engage your inner core. Pull your pubic bone to your belly button. And then keep your back flat and let your knees move out away from the chest. Normally we move into a neutral when we do this, but we're going to flatten the back. Keep flattening the lower back and imprinting the ribs. Continue to flatten. This is going to be a challenge. And lower the right foot down. Keep flattening. Try not to let the back arch. And continue to flatten and bring the left foot down. And then keep flattening and straighten the left leg out onto the floor. And continue flattening and straighten the right leg out onto the floor. And then relax. And then re-engage. Tilt the pelvis again. Keep the back flat and draw the right foot back into position. And the left foot back into position, keeping the spine flat. If you have something behind your head, move it out from under your head. And we're going to lift into a rolling pelvic lift. Raise the hips up off of the mat. Keep drawing the pubic bone to the belly button and descend, imprinting the back ribs. Once you've got the back ribs imprinted, I want you to pause just for a moment. Feel that you're evenly imprinting. Shorten the distance between the pubic bone and the belly button. and then descend the rest of the way back down. And then relax that completely. Staying passive on the feet, re-engage the inner core and tilt the pelvis. So we're not pushing off the feet, trying to find a connection between pubic bone and belly button. And then imprint the ribs and lift yourself up again. Feel the pubic bone drawing towards the belly button. Come just part way down. So you're imprinting the ribs, and then pause when you've got the back ribs imprinted. The hips are still going to be lifted, and you're going to pull pubic bone to belly button very firmly, and then roll down to a flat back. We're still in the pelvic tilt, and then release the hips completely, returning to the neutral. Let the belly relax a moment. One more time, without pushing off the feet, engage the inner core and tilt the pelvis. Preserve that pelvic tilt as you add the imprint of the ribs and press into the feet to lift the hips. And then come part way down, pulling the pubic bone to the belly button and imprinting the back ribs, and pause. The hips are hovering, the back ribs are imprinted. And roll down to a flat spine. Don't release the pelvic tilt. Keep it flattening and straighten the right leg out. Still flatten, flatten, flatten the lower back. And continue to flatten and straighten the left leg out. And then relax. Bring your hands behind the head. Interlace the fingers. Inhale to prepare. We're going to come up into a partial roll-up with the hands behind the head. Engage the inner core. Tilt the pelvis and imprint the ribs. Bring the elbows close together and then lift. Press the belly button down towards the mat. Imprint the back ribs. Pull the pubic bone to the belly button. We're going to stay here and breathe. Keep tilting the pelvis. Belly button to spine. You feel a lot of action around the waist, between the belly button and the pubic bone. Keep imprinting the back ribs, and then release back down. Let everything go. Relax the belly, relax the buttocks, relax the legs. Set that up again, inner core, tilt the pelvis, imprint the ribs, and lift the head. Bring the elbows close together. You can pull gently on the neck. Bring the back of the head to stretch the neck. And breathe into that pelvic tilt. Flatten the lower spine. And do the same thing again. Relaxing back down. One more time. Engage the inner core, tilt the pelvis, imprint the back ribs, lift the head, scoop the belly, the back is flat. Now this time I want you to look down your legs, and if your toes are pointing out to the side, bring them into parallel and keep flattening the spine. Then breathe and maintain. Press the belly button to the spine, tilt the pelvis, imprint the back ribs. Keep the legs parallel. That means your toes are not pointing towards the outside, but up towards the ceiling. And then release back down. Bring your arms down to your sides. And inhale, sweep your arms all the way up overhead so you're reaching long from the fingers to toes. Let everything go for a moment. Big arch in the spine. And then exhale, inner core, pelvic tilt, ribs knitting and imprinting. And relax that with the inhale. We'll take a side bend, moving the feet to the left, the upper body to the left, right foot over the left, hold the right wrist. You don't need to you don't need to flatten the lower back, but do reach the back ribs down and make sure that the right hip is not elevated. So we have a neutral spine, but we want to keep the right back side of the body in contact with the mat. And come back into the center. Relax in the center for a moment. And then walk the feet to the right, upper body to the right, left ankle over the right, hold the left wrist. Reach the left hip and the left back ribs down to the mat. And then return to the center, stretch up long. Bring the legs to parallel. Inhale, lengthen from the feet to the hands. And exhale, engage the inner core, tilt the pelvis, imprint the back ribs. Press the belly button down to the spine. And relax that, float the arms up. And bring the knees into the chest. Rock the knees from side to side. And then return the feet to the floor, coming to the neutral, relaxed spine, pelvis, giving into gravity. Then turn to the left side. I'm going to start with the knees comfortably bent. Relaxing into gravity. Soften the left side towards the floor. Make sure the left neck and shoulders are comfortable. Check out that the pelvis is slightly tilted forward, that your right knee is directly over the left knee or even a little bit forward, and that the right hip point is cheating forward. Place your hand on the front of the right hip. As you exhale, engage the inner core and then slowly externally rotate to lift the right knee towards the ceiling and then come back down. We're going to go very slowly today, slow motion. You don't have to release between each one, but do a reset between each one. And lower back down. And again, slowly let the right knee roll, lift as the thigh rolls out in the socket. And release back down. Twice more. Find your inner core, support the pelvis. And lower down. And one last time. Let everything relax. And then bring the legs to the 90-degree position. Feet and knees at the front of the mat. Continue to tilt the pelvis forward. Top of the pelvis forward. Engage the inner core. And nice slow motion. Exhale, right knee towards the ceiling and lower back down. Stabilize the pelvis with the pelvic floor and the belt. And lower back down. 3 more slow ones. And then open the front of the hips out completely. Knees under the head, feet behind you. Engage your inner core and now add an organ lift. And then in slow motion, roll the right thigh out in the socket and lower it back down. Roll the thigh out, reach your knee away from your head as you roll and lower back down. And again, lift and roll out. Come back down and twice more. Keep your awareness around the pelvis. Keep the belt snug around your hips. to straighten the legs completely. Bring the right hand behind the head. Engage the inner core. Take an organ lift without pressing into your left hand or arm. Side bend and lower back down. Inner core and organ lift. No pressure through the left arm. Try not to brace with the shoulder. Do the work with the obliques. Lift on the exhale. Lower on the inhale. Do it twice more. Feel the muscles in your right waist working. The muscles in the left waist lifting. And then release that. Bring the right hand down to the waist. Relax. Reset the inner core and your organ lift. And lift the top leg. And lower back down. And lift. And lower. Stabilizing the space between the rib and the pelvis, like we did when we were on the back. 2 more times. Halfway down and then circle, very slow and small, completely stable in the pelvis and the ribs. And then reverse, go 5 in each direction. Then re-stabilize with the right leg at hip socket height. Fingertips on the mat if you like. We're going forward and back 5 times. Please do not let your ribs move, so don't go too far back. It's not a back bend, it's a hip extension only. Lengthen through the front thigh, keeping the relationship between the hip and the pelvis steady, keeping the spine neutral. Exhale when you go back and knit the ribs in, that'll give you a little bit more support. When you're done 5 each direction, return to the center. Re-engage the inner core and the organ lift, and lift and lower the bottom leg 5 times. Fingertips on the mat if you have strain in the neck. On the last one, keep the bottom leg lifted. Keep lifting your organs. Lower the legs 90% of the way down, and then lift back up by increasing your organ lift. And lower. And lift back up. Increase the organ lift and lift the legs and lower. Fingertips on the floor rather than wobbling. Make sure that your feet have not moved behind your hips. We still want them slightly forward so you're not overusing your back muscles. On the last one, stay up. We'll work the feet, flex the feet, squeeze the toes, point the toes, fan the toes, and flex back. Squeeze, point, fan, flex, squeeze, point, fan, flex and reverse it with the toes open. Reach out and then squeeze the toes and pull back with the toes closed. Open, reach, squeeze, and retract. One last time. And then lower the legs back down. I'm going to turn onto the belly for a moment, extending all the way out long. Forehead on the floor, arms out in front of you. Engage the inner core, knit the ribs together, and then tilt your pelvis so you're tucking your tail between your legs, and lift the chest and head up. Draw the shoulders down the back. A little different from the way we usually do it. You're tilting the pelvis, and then relax back down and let that go. Release completely. And again, inner core first, tilt the pelvis, so you tuck your tail between your legs, knit the ribs together, and raise the chest and the head, pull the shoulders down the back, and keep tilting the pelvis. And then release. Let everything go. One more time, inner core first, tilt the pelvis, knit the ribs, and lift up. Keep pulling the tail between the legs. And then relax back down. Then move into a child's pose. Hips back to the heels. Take any version you like. Relax the neck and shoulders. And then we're going to turn over and lie on the right side. Neck and shoulders comfortable. I'm going to start with the knees comfortably bent, relaxing into gravity. Take a moment to settle here on this side. Check that the pelvis is properly oriented with the left hip a little forward. Place your hand on the top of the left side of the pelvis. Engage the inner core, not the organ lift. We just worked the obliques, now we're resting them. And roll the thigh out in the socket and lower back down. Just 4 more times. Take these very slowly. Be mindful not to brace with the right side of the body. Roll the thigh in the socket. The power should come from the left buttock, the stability from your belt and your pelvic floor. When you've done 5, relax completely. And then bend the knees, 90-degree angle at the hips. Left hip a little forward. Left knee at least on top of the right, if not a little forward. Find your inner core, still no organ lift, and roll the thigh out in the socket. Keep the right leg relaxed as much as possible, so try not to be pushing into the floor with the right leg. Just stabilize with your belt and roll the thigh out in the socket using the external rotators, which are in the left buttock. After 5, relax. And then open out the front of the hip. Find your inner core and now add an organ lift so you're active in the waist as well. And slowly 5 rotations here. Reaching your knee away from your head the whole time and keeping the left hip forward. Then relax, straighten both legs out, feet a little forward of the hips, left hip slightly forward. Make sure the neck and shoulders are comfortable, and bring the left hand behind the head. Engage your inner core, take your organ lift, and without bracing in the right arm, side bend and lower back down. So try to relax through the right arm, exhale up. Feel the left waist, feel the right waist lifting off the floor, the left waist curling the armpit towards the hip. And lower, do it twice more. And relax. Bring the left hand down to the waist. Engage the inner core and your organ lift. And then raise the left leg up and bring it back down. The space between the left hip and ribs should feel toned, engaged, and stable. No change in that movement. On the last one, halfway down, and we'll circle 5 times each way. Keep knowing where your hips and your ribs are, that they don't move. Keep it small. Re-engage and reverse when you finish 5 the first direction, 5 the other. And then really prepare well for the forward and back. Organ lift, inner core engage, pull the ribs together to exhale back and inhale forward. Make sure that the lower back's not compressing. Reach your left foot away from your head as you reach it behind you. Keep the ribs absolutely still, the pelvis absolutely still. Fingertips can go on the floor if you feel like your balance is hard. When you're done with 5, center the left leg in line with the hip socket. Reset your inner core and your organ lift, and bottom leg is going to come up and down. 5 repetitions. On the last one, keep it up, engage between the inner thighs, and lower 90% of the way down, and then re-lift. Lower down, and renew your organ lift to bring the legs back up. And lower, and lift. Lower, and lift one more time. And then stay in the lift, flex the feet, squeeze the toes, point the feet, fan the toes, flex back, squeeze, point, fan, flex, squeeze, point, fan, and flex, reverse, reach to the ball of the foot, then squeeze with the toes and pull back, open, reach, squeeze, and pull back, open the toes one last time, and then release back down. And we're going to turn to the back. Find your neutral spine. Stabilize the inner core around the neutral. Lift the right ankle to the left knee. Knit the ribs and imprint them gently as you lift the left foot up. Root your tailbone down and extend the left foot to the ceiling and then bend the knee. Neutral pelvis, balance left to right, lower back in its neutral position. Do that 2 more times. And then once the knee is bent again, flatten the back. Relax the abdominal work. Again, check that you're balanced from side to side and relax into the stretch of the right hip. Drop the shoulders down, lower back is flat. Back of the neck long. Breath slow. And then release. Left foot, then right foot back down to the mat. Feel the neutral. Re-support around the neutral as you lift the left ankle to the right knee. Keep your neutral spine as you raise the right foot up. And maintain neutral as you extend the right foot to the ceiling. And then bend the knee. We'll do that 4 more times. Straighten the legs, stretch the hamstring, keep your tailbone down, and bend the knee. Definitely want the neutral spine here to emphasize the hamstring stretch. Twice more. And then you can pull the pubic bone into the belly button, flatten the lower back, let everything relax, and breathe slowly, stretching the left hip. Sure that there's no tension in the shoulders and you feel that the back of the neck is long, the face is relaxed. When you're done here, we're going to bring both knees into the chest, using the hands on the knees to help flatten the lower back passively. And then I want you to move the knees away from the chest and feel the neutral spine. And just again, passive stretch of the lower back as you pull the thighs in close. And then move the knees away and feel that neutral spine. Do that a couple more times. We're not using the abdominals here yet. Next time your knees are out so that your back is neutral, we're going to come into an actively flattened back and then do the abdominal series with a flattened spine. So engage the inner core, tilt the pelvis. Now pull the pubic bone to the belly button. You can use your hands to assist, but the actions are really coming from the low belly. And bring the both hands onto one knee. Knit your ribs and lift your head up. Make sure your back ribs are down, your lower back stays flat, and straighten your left leg out. Keep your lower back flat, and then switch. Keep the lower back flat, and switch. Keep flattening the lower spine, scooping the belly in, pulling the pubic bone to the belly button. It'll really help if you keep imprinting the back ribs. Good, so you have all of those actions. Pubic bone to belly button and lower back flattened, back ribs imprinted. Bring your knees in, put your head down, one hand on each knee, passive. And then move the knees out away from the chest again. Re-engage the inner core. Pull the pubic bone to the belly button. Imprint the back ribs, knit the front ribs, and lift the head. Keep the lower back flat as you exhale. Reach the arms and the legs away from the center and come back in. Exhale, reach away. Double leg stretch with a flat lower back. And circle the arms to meet the knees as they bend back in. Exhale out. Try to resist flattening the back by using your hands against your knees. You just touch the knees, but you're going to use the flattening power of the abdominals, not cheating by pulling on your knees with your hands. And now, one hand on each knee, lower the head, and now pull the knees in. Passive flattening of the back, relax the belly. You might want to rock back and forth a little bit. And then move the knees out away from the chest. Re-engage your inner core. Actively tilt the pelvis. Feel the pubic bone coming to the belly button. Knit and imprint the ribs as you lift your head and take the single straight leg with a flat back. One leg up, one leg down. Keep flattening your lower spine. Pull on the back of the leg, preferably not behind the knee. And then bring both knees into the chest, put your head down, passively flattening the back, relax the shoulders, relax the neck. If you need to turn your head from side to side, you can. And the next one is tricky, and if it's too hard to keep the back flat against the weight of the legs, I want you to do the variation. So I'm going to introduce the variation first. Move the knees out away from the chest, engage the inner core, pull the pubic bone to the belly button to flatten the lower back. Knit and imprint, bring the hands behind the head and lift your head. Keep your back flat and straighten both legs up. And keep it flat and bend both knees. So that's the variation. If it's too hard to do the double leg stretch, just do that a few times. Straighten up with both legs, with both lower back flat, and keep your back flat. Lower the legs down slightly and bring them back up. Do not let the weight of the legs arch the lower back. We're not even moving to neutral here. We're staying in flat. And then bend the knees, put your head down, one hand on each knee. You can rock the knees side to side or turn the head, relax everything. The crisscross is also going to be done with a flattened lower back. So move the knees out, feel your neutral. Engage your inner core, tilt the pelvis, knit and imprint the ribs. Keeping your lower back flat, lift your head, hands behind the knees, and keep the back flat as you go into the crisscross. If it's too hard to do the bicycle, just keep your knees bent and do the crisscross motion, making sure that the back stays flat and that the whole rib cage moves in one piece. Want a nice, complete rotation over to the side, but don't sacrifice your flat back. And then bring the knees into the chest, rest the head down. And lower one foot at a time to the floor. Feel the neutral for a moment. And then we're going to come up onto all fours. Hands directly under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Inhale and breathe into the chest, pull the breastbone forward. And then exhale, simply tuck your tail between your legs. Keep your tail tucked and stay there and inhale. And then continue tucking your tail, bend your elbows and bring your hips back to the heels. Then inhale, lift back up onto all fours. Neutral spine, draw the breastbone forward. Exhale, just tilt the pelvis. And then maintain that while you inhale. Exhale, bend your arms and bring your hips back to your heels. You're still tucking your tail between your legs. And then inhale, lift back up. Neutral spine, draw the chest forward. Exhale, tuck your tail between your legs. And stay while you inhale. And keep tucking the tail as you bend your elbows and bring your hips back to your heels. And then lift back up. And we're going to stand up onto the knees. We'll stretch for the hip flexors now. We're standing on the knees. Bring the left foot forward. The left ankle and knee are in line with each other. Center yourself. Reach the crown of the head up. Careful not to lift the chin. And as you exhale, we're going to do that same motion we've been doing throughout class of tucking the tail between the legs. As you tuck the tail, lumbar spine is going to lengthen. You should feel some stretch on your left front thigh. And then release that. Do it again. Sorry I didn't say engage your inner core first. And then tuck your tail. And maintain for a moment. And then relax. One more of those, inner core. And tilt the pelvis. Tuck the tail between the legs. Feel the stretch in the right thigh. Release and bring the left knee back underneath the left hip. And then the right foot's going to come forward, right ankle directly under the right knee. Tall and lifted through the crown of the head. Engage the inner core, then tuck the tail between the legs. Feel the stretch in the front left thigh. And release. Again, inner core, tuck the tail, and feel the length in the left thigh. Maintain, breathe while you maintain it. Release. One more time, inner core first, and then tuck the tail. And maintain as you breathe. Feel the lengthening and the stretching of the front left thigh. release, bring the right foot, the right knee back underneath the hip, then tuck your toes under and sit your hips down onto your heels, lift your chest up. Now we're going to come up into a standing position. Keeping the chin down, inhale, raise the arms to the front. Exhale, engage your inner core, tuck your tail between your legs, and fold yourself forward. Let the hands come to rest wherever they come on the legs, could be the thighs. Keep your chin tucked under, flatten your back. Neutral spine, and then engage the inner core, tuck the tail, and release into a rounded spine. And again, flatten the spine, and tuck the tail, and release down into a flat or a rounded spine. And again to the flat spine, keep your chin down, and tuck your tail, rounded spine. Now keep your tail tucking this time, and slide your hands up your legs. Tuck your tail between your legs. Come all the way up. You're still tucking, still tucking, still tucking. And then release to a neutral. Stand all the way up tall, lengthening through the crown of the head. Keep that lifted, lengthening through the crown. Neutral spine, neutral pelvis. Roll the arms out in the sockets. Lift the breastbone. And relax the arms. Feel the even weight on the feet. The lift through the legs, lift through the spine, lift through the top of the head. Standing at your full height, lifted, supported. Hopefully feeling a little taller than when you started, especially with all that hip extension. So there's where we leave it. Thank you very much. Beautiful day. I'm most probably not going to be here next Saturday. If all goes well, I will be up in the mountains hiking. I'll let you know, but of course, feel free to take one of those past classes. Or if you liked working with the flat back, try this one out again. So have a great week. I will be here for all the other classes Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Be well. Thanks. Hi, Katie, are you there? That's nice. Tracy, good morning. All right, thanks everybody. Bye.